on this.
Yeah, and we are letting them like take small breaks in between each chapter if they want to. So just because it is determined by in-game time, and there they go. All right, so we're starting off into prologue. You'll be seeing them jumping around a lot, mainly because each jump, each time you land from a jump, Madeline gets like a small little speed boost. They are really synced right now, and whenever they jump, it saves about 2 frames. So just saving optimal amounts of time in prologue. And
Gotta
that
love the
is
sync. That bird went down same exact time.
that was perfect. Usually like stream delay happens and some people start like a few seconds before, but that was perfect perfect sync right now. This is great. Flader rocking out with the different language though. And into chapter 1, I gotta say I've never seen anybody use like just all commas. And there they go with their dash jumps and their ball bounces, all their crazy stuff. Nice hypers going on here.
Yeah,
So
all
yeah,
those to save a lot of time going through all of these stages, all that advanced tech.
yeah. Some of it does not seem like you would. Some of it you might not notice. But a lot of it, like that reverse that Laurie was going for, unfortunately missed it. There you go. That's the second try. You can definitely notice that skipped a little bit of that section there. And
Yep.
the big one is right here for Flader, going right underneath that block.
Yep. Flader right now, just great efficiency going through each of these levels. Not really getting slowed down by anything here.
Yeah, seeming like he's having a really good chapter 1 so far. And here comes the spike jump. Nice job there. Laurie having a
Two
little bit of
great
trouble.
spike jumps there. I don't know if he missed his jump before that and didn't have his boost, or whether or not he intended to do that. But either way, impressive nonetheless.
Yes, and Laurie was having a little bit of trouble there with getting her dash back before she did the dash jump. That's something you have to get used to when you're running this game, and some people might just opt not to do those advanced tactics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the
there we go.
one of the tougher ones just to get that down, at least initially.
And now we're moving into chapter 2 for Flader. Laurie following up very closely behind him. Just a couple of deaths that weren't intentional. And now you'll see why hypers and the advanced tech in this game are so perfectly fit for speedrunners. And right here, he accidentally had to retry there, but he was trying to do a glitch where his y-axis stays after the cutscene, but he gets shifted over to where the cutscene would have left him, but he still stays in the air, so he ends up spawning inside of that dream block, which is perfect for us.
Getting it second try is not going to lose him much time at all. So I'm sure.
Yeah, just an unfortunate retry there.
Yep.
And oh, nice
Well,
save there by Laurie.
Got it through the that secret
accidentally
passage there.
going to get a strawberry, just stopping off. I've never seen that save. That was awesome.
I've done it one time before on accident where I was just like, oh man, and then I just was about to retry, and it's like, oh okay.
And now we're Flader is into the battle line chase here. She stays 3 seconds behind you. That was a weird retry there.
So what happened right there is they were gonna jump on top of the block, and they didn't have their dash, so they were retrying instead of getting all the way into the rest of the level. So taking a death instead of possibly losing time later on.
Gotcha. Yeah, so like we were saying, Flader's now done with it, but Laurie's going into it now with the battle line section, where she follows your movements exactly, but she stays 3 seconds of a delay. So if you mess up your movement or just have a little bit of a flop or miss a jump, then you most likely are going to take an unfortunate death. Like she almost did there.
And then Vlad here on the awake portion of it, just moving through. This is one of the more technical parts of the stage, of really the run, because all you're doing is just this fast movement, getting these hypers all the way through the stage. Does it with ease. Nothing really slowing him down.
The task is like insane at that point.
Yes, it is.
And now moving on to one of like a lot of people's least favorite levels. It's just chapter 3. This one is where difficulty really spikes from chapters 1 and 2. And we see these dust bunnies who are on different cycles. At least the moving ones are. There's stationary ones and there's moving ones. And the moving ones have 2 different types of cycles. One where you die in the room, and one if you just enter the room. So, as Flader very generously showed off there, if you die, the cycles are completely different. So, speedrunners tend to learn both of the cycles in case they take a death or 2 in the rooms with the cycles involved. And Laurie now just finishing up chapter 2, not far behind Flader.
No, still sub 5 minutes, so around her skill level, that's very good time.
And especially with that like wicked save that she pulled off at the beginning.
Absolutely.
All right, so right now Flader is just going to go get this key. Has to take a little bit of a detour to go get it. And I didn't mention this when Flader was doing it, but we'll see it with Laurie right here. Yeah, you can dash into... Oh, decides to take the safety strat here by dashing back, but when you transition from one screen to another, you actually regain your dash. So we kind of use that dash up and to the right, so we can get that key without having to climb it like the casuals would normally do it on their first try.
You see that a lot more in all the other categories, like all red berries or 100%.
All hearts or 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
The crystal heart in chapter 2, which is one of the collectibles, actually requires that you do that.
Yes, it does. I didn't know it existed until I was like, where's this heart?
And now we have Flader moving into the button portion section of chapter 3, because you're just going throughout to unlock these 3 buttons to clear the mess. Also, nice spike jump right there from Flader. First try. So yes, there's no specific order that they make you get these buttons in, but we made up an order in the community because after each of these buttons, you need to talk to Oshiro anyways. So we kind of just made up a route that gets us closer to Oshiro each time. Also, Laurie having a little bit of trouble here. Seeming to have a little bit of trouble on each part here. On the same part, actually.
Yep.
And we should mention that these walls that she's climbing on, they have dust bunnies that appear only when you leave that wall/floor. So after you jump off it, I should say.
Just nearly missed that platform there.
And couldn't regain her dash because, again, the dust bunnies popped up from there.
It was rough. It looked like she had touched that button, but just, I guess, missed it by a few pixels.
Yeah, those lock switches can definitely be very costly, and the hitboxes are a little weird too.
Man, Fladervy just going by each of those dust bunnies, just insanely close to them in the routing there. Gets by him with no issue.
Yeah. So far, this has been a fairly good chapter 3 for Fladervy.
Yeah, very good race.
Sorry if I was mispronouncing it. I was saying Flader.
I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh, missed a lock switch. Going back for it. That's okay. All right, and now he's into the part before the boss fight. And Laurie just now going to her first button, not too far behind, especially considering the amount of times that she had a few mess-ups and unintentional deaths.
I mean, it's easy to happen here. Looks like she went for the spike jump on her first try, but then decided, I'll try it once and then just go on it normal, and that's what she did. Probably a smart move. Spike jumps are a lot harder than they looks.
Yeah, and as you can see, Fladervy here taking his first intentional death, where it's actually faster just to die intentionally and retry, because you keep the key when you die. So we just go ahead and give ourselves our own death and respawn at the beginning of that room. And now he is moving on into the Oshiro boss fights, and Oshiro will send off these lasers of where he's going to be dashing towards you, and if he hits you, you die, obviously. So as a casual standpoint, this used to be like probably the hardest point for casuals. One of the hardest boss fights this is probably like the hardest point of the game up until this point. But we make quick work of it, because we know how to manipulate him.
Yep, absolutely. And just one thing to note, even though we're manipulating that position, if you do just have a slight mess up, that means that the way that you're manipulating him is not going to work, so he'll dash on a different position. So even if you're very experienced in the game, it can still be one of the tougher sections, just because any small slip up can mean that you'll die, but not too much of an issue. Almost a 4-minute, but still a low 5-minute chapter 3. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that. And got a strawberry, I think, most importantly.
Most importantly. And now Laurie is now just getting the key, not far behind at all, just behind by the boss fight and the elevator section, but she can come back from this.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as we get later on, it does get tougher. With the differences in PBs, and I'm sure we'll see strats. And then again, just missing that button for Laurie by, it seems just like a pixel. But
yeah,
he has a
she's
chance
not really having
in a
the
race.
best chance with this.
Yep. So we'll just see how it goes on later on. If Vlad can have a couple slip-ups, then it's anyone's race. But
Also, nice save there by Laurie. Was running out of stamina, so she actually did a neutral jump there and somehow still made it over. That was very impressive.
Laurie was deciding to go for all those hypers all the way across there, but last one, I don't know if either didn't get that jump or just decided, ooh, I'm going to wait on this one. But either way.
Yeah, those hypers can be a little weird sometimes, and very nice jump there by Fladervy, by the way. And another one there, too. So Fladervy is actually in Chapter 4, which is Golden Ridge. Right here is going to be doing an auto-scroller skip, and in tasks you can do this without the block, but we use the block just to give us a little extra push, and there you go. So
yeah,
yes,
but you'll see the top runners do it just about every single time.
Yeah, and so Chapter 4 has these blue bubbles that could be blue. I don't even know. I don't know what color these are. I think they're more teal. But these basically replenish your dash, and they also take you a distance of a dash as well. And then you have the wind, obviously, which is probably the most annoying part for me, at least, of Chapter 4. But we make good use of the wind for certain auto-scroller skips, and just to make some rooms easier.
Oh, and just not going to use the that moving block there, and just decides to do those spike jumps.
Yeah, this last room with Oshiro actually is giving Laurie quite a hard time right now. And this is what I mean by... One. Yeah, it's any of these Oshiro rooms, if you mess up on them, they're very big time losses, so it's sad to see that he's not really playing nice with her.
Yeah, particularly this one. And this is one that I find that whenever I, death cycle and just completely repeat in Oshiro, if there's a room, it's going to be this one. And it's the worst, especially since to get through that, if you're doing it slow, can take around 20 seconds. So definitely not one you want to die on, but an easy one to die on, as she's going to finish up Chapter 3.
Yep, and we have Fladervy here, getting to close to the end of Chapter 4 right now. Currently in the snowball section, bounces off the snowball, but lost his dash somehow. That was a little weird. The snowballs can be a little not nice. They're kind of like Oshiro, except that they come from the opposite end of the screen, but they don't give any warning of where they're going to go. But we can kind of tell where they're going to go anyways, because...
you just have to have the timing down.
Time. Yeah,
when you know when they're going to come, you sort of try to manipulate their position. And then Vlad already done with Chapter 4. He's just moving along this.
That was a very good Chapter 4 as well.
Yeah, only a few deaths. I don't think any of them were anything major. So
I also wanted to point out that he did a reverse from a bubble, so that was pretty insane. On the second last room, I didn't even mention it because we were talking about other stuff, but that was crazy. I just wanted to point out that he did that. And now moving into the Mirror Temple, where we have a lot of skips. We have these platforms here that move when you dash, so we're gonna be using them for extra height and extra speed later on. These red bubbles, which go straight. This skip right here, which is much harder than it looks.
Yeah, the spike jump is tough. I'm actually surprised she went for it instead of just going for the normal intended route.
Yeah, on Laurie's screen. Oh, nice jump right there. Got a little bit too friendly with those spikes, but still good. And on Fladervy's screen and also on Laurie's screen, because both of the bubbles have this effect, they actually activate faster. Also, nice screen by Fladervy right there, getting a lot of extra speed from those dash blocks. Going for a double bubble skip, and he gets it. Look at that.
I think that it's almost agreed it's at least one of the hardest skips in the entire any percent run. Just insane.
If not the hardest, I think that's the hardest strat to go for.
I would probably agree. Unless there's a strat I don't know about, that's got to be the hardest.
Yeah, that's pretty insane that he got that first try. Very well done by him. But the two bubbles, the red bubbles and the teal-like bubbles, they actually activate faster if you dash when you're inside them. So if you see them activate much faster than you activated them in your casual playthrough, when you were first playing this game, well, that's why, because they're dashing when they're inside them to activate them and make them move faster. So now we're introduced to Seekers on Fladervy's side, and they can be a little bit of a nuisance. Just sometimes they seem like they can be a little random, even though we have ways to manipulate where they go, and that we can actually bop them on the head to get more height and speed, but sometimes they just don't want to play nice, so we'll see how they play right today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that we'll see someone like Flad completely manipulate him, use him to his advantage, but if he ever trips up on one of these levels at all, it can be tough and result in a death because, you know, you're used to having one is right there, bops on one of them, uses it to touch a button to get through it. You're going to see it right there, dashes through
right
one
here,
of those buttons. Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yep, going to do that again to hit a button.
This is a very clean section so far for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly how you're supposed to do it.
That was really well done. And Laurie now coming up very close to the end of chapter 4. Only 2 or 3 rooms left for her. That she will also be joining Fladervy down in the Mirror Temple.
Yeah,
and now
Laurie,
going for Surge Skip here. Decided to try to go for Corner Boost strat. Did not work out very well for him. Let's see if he goes for it again. Just decides to go with the normal reverse route. Still very well done.
Yeah, that corner boost strat does save, like, I don't even know if it's a full half second, but a little bit of time, so a lot of top runners will decide to go for it if they feel comfortable enough with that strategy.
And now Laurie is now done with Chapter 4, heading into Mirror Temple to join Fladervy. And Fladervy is actually going to be coming up to a lot of people's least favorite section. Just because of how slow it is. That too. But luckily, this is the Theo section. That was a very nice job there with that button. But I think this was probably the most hardest part to learn. Mainly because for the longest time, I didn't even, like, for me personally, I didn't know you could hyper and then also like pick up Theo and keep your speed. So that's like a big thing that you'll be seeing him do here.
Allows you to gain a lot of momentum, especially if you watch the task. The task is able to do insane things just by chaining those dashes together.
Designed to take that Seeker a little safe, just luring away from Theo so he wouldn't get hit. Probably a safer strat indeed.
Ooh, right there. Again, gaining that momentum by dashing off a block, then grabbing Theo, giving you a lot of speed, but just bonks on the side there.
Oh, an unfortunate death there. That was that's gonna cost a good amount of time there. And almost had it again. And there goes Laurie. She decided not to go for double bubble skip because it is one of the harder strats in this game. So I don't blame her for that. And that is a very unfortunate death there by Fladervy there. This last section with Theo is probably the longest, one of the longest. But he's out of there now. All right, and now the eyeball of truth here. Just gotta slam it into his eye, and there we go. He's done with Chapter 5. Moving on to Reflection now.
Yeah, sub 5, Chapter 5, so pretty decent. I'm sure that really there was just a couple screens there on the Seekers or the Theo section that I'm sure wanted that to be a little bit better, but all in all, good Chapter 5.
Yeah, I think the only thing that went mostly where it went wrong was those 2 deaths in the Theo section, but even those didn't seem to hinder him that much.
Yeah, no, not huge.
All right, and now we have the feather, which is analog stick dependent. So, for those on keyboard, I'm sorry.
Or those who just decide that they want to stick to D-pad when they're running on
Nice
controllers.
leg skip right there. That was very perfect.
Yep, tough skip, first try, that saves about 5 seconds.
I'm pretty sure it's a 3-pixel window too. That's like insane.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Also, we will hear this when Laurie gets to it, but because we have her audio on. But shout out to Kevin because of the wonderful sound that he makes with his mouth. And yeah, these are what we call Kevin blocks, but they're technically called crush blocks. And
Yeah,
right
but
here, gonna go do some neutral jumps to get up this wall without conserving stamina. So very well done there.
yeah, and there you
Meanwhile,
saw him using that momentum from the Kevin block by hypering off of it, just gaining so much speed.
yeah, we will see that again when he heads into the boss fight in this chapter. Very unfortunate death there, by the way. This is probably the worst room to die in, especially in this section where the Seekers are chasing you on Laurie's screen. So having a death here definitely resulted in about 20 or 30 seconds of time loss, which is sad to see. But now we'll see Laurie going for search skip in a little bit. And those magnets, I just call them magnets. Those bounce pads, I can't speak. Those
Bumpers.
whatever those are, bumpers. Thank you. Going here for search skip. Oh, had a little bit of trouble with it. That reverse can be a little bit difficult because you don't have much room to work with it.
It can, and maintaining right there, you saw didn't maintain the dash. That can be another tough part of it as well. It's definitely
And
one of
have it
those.
again.
Yeah, definitely one of those skips where you need to know it. It's one of the more important parts of the speed run because it does save a couple minutes. Because really, I stand by the fact that no one knows where those keys actually are. You just do that skip, and then the key just
Fair enough.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, and in that last room that Fladervy was in, right before this section right here, those bumpers that I was talking about that I couldn't think of the name of for some reason, they, if you hit them and you hold away from them, you actually gain more, you get more distance from them than you would normally. So he did that to kind of skip one of the bumpers in that room. And now doing some nice developer intended strats here. Decides not to go for the checkpoint, but it worked out for him. If he died there at the very end, he would have been spawned at the very top again, which is very unfortunate. So it's a good thing that he knows how to do that last one. Meanwhile, Laurie having not many issues here with the Theo section, having a very clean Theo section so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really one of the things that you want to do because this section can be what can waste a lot of times in runs is this Theo section because there's just so many different things that can go wrong. But getting through it with minimal problems.
Yeah, now Fladervy in the battle line boss fight here, where instead of chasing us, we get to chase her. And this entire boss is all you have to do is touch her to get a hit on her. So it's all about movement for this.
Yeah, there's a few of these sections where timing will be important, particularly ones where she'll be throwing those red orbs. Don't want to run into those. But for the most part, you'll see a lot of these runners just be able to get through them with no trouble from Battleline herself. It's more of an issue with the surroundings itself causing a lot of the deaths compared to her laser or those red orbs.
Yeah, and right here we see Laurie having a... Oh, well, Theo was just being weird on that one.
Yeah, it looked like it was up there. I was like, "Ooh, is it going to sit in the middle of the spikes? What's going to happen there?" But just a bit of tough luck there.
Yeah, and a sad death there, too. Again, Fladervy was having trouble with this screen as well, so it's sad to see that she is also having issues with it. But there we go. Now she got it, and she is going to be leaving Mirror Temple fairly soon right now. Just has to throw Theo into the eye of Sauron.
Yeah, and you see those pulses that push him back, that push her back. It's really tough to get that down, especially when you're trying to throw and chain together, your jumps to build momentum. But does a fairly good job of that.
And now we see that Fladervy is now moving into the second phase of the boss fight. And in this phase, you will see that she's going to be getting a little, having a little temper tantrum and throwing some blocks at us.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, pretty much. Trying to do a nice hyper there. Messed up on the first time, but he got it the second time. Still good. Oh, decides to hang out in the corner for a little bit. That was
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
I think that he didn't want to run into one of those orbs. I was saying before how those are generally not an issue, but when you're off of your usual cycle there, it's usually, at least in a race setting, it's smarter to just wait it out a little bit and know that you'll be in a comfortable position rather than take a risk and be fast like you might do if it was a traditional PB attempt.
Yeah, and he took a death there in one of those rooms, and taking a death in this last part of the battle line fight in any of the rooms, pretty much, they do take up quite a lot of time, so it was sad to see that. And also Laurie opting not to go for leg skip again, it only saves a little bit of time, and it's definitely hard to do for your first few attempts, so definitely a safety strat.
If you can't get it, I think it's like the third try, it's better to just not do it than it is to actually try for it.
Yeah,
so
and
now
Fladervy now is done with the boss fight and is now moving on. Got his power up, now has 2 dashes here, and is now done with Chapter 6. And we'll now be moving on to Summit. Also, now that we have the audio, shouts to Kevin.
Gotta love that sound.
I love, that's like probably my favorite. Everybody like goes on and on about the music in this game. Dude, the Kevin blocks though. That's like, I want an official soundtrack of just Kevin.
Just that for, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I need that. Alright, so now we are into the summit. So everything that we talked about up until this point, you'll be able to see it here in the summit for the most part. Pretty much everything gets reused from all the other chapters.
Yep, and it'll be mixed up a little bit because we do have that second dash, so a lot of things remixed with, what we've seen from earlier chapters, just with more difficulty and different strategy.
Yeah, not having that bad of a 0 meter right here for Fladervy, having a pretty solid one. And now he's moving on to 500 meters, which is based off of Chapter 1 for Second City. So we have these zippers again, which we didn't even have time to talk about because these players got through Chapter 1 so quickly. But yeah, basically whenever Madeline grabs onto it or steps on the zippers, they will move up. Or whichever direction they are.
Yeah, those zipper blocks, I'm trying to think of, the high-level strats for those. There's like, you use them 1 or 2 times that entire first chapter, and there are a lot of them. Mainly just use it to jump off of, not really to actually wait and hold on to it. Because Chapter 1 is so fast that, like, actually using the zipper blocks for what they're intended on would be way too slow.
Yeah, exactly. And had a pretty good 500 meter, not gonna lie. That so far this Chapter 7 is looking pretty good for Fladervy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, a very sad death there from Laurie. Yeah, if you hyper there, there's a very good chance that you're gonna go into those purple spikes there. Alright, so now Laurie is chasing Battleline's hair, decides to go for both skips. Oh, taking a little bit of safety. Oh, and that's what I was talking about earlier. There is a checkpoint that you can go out of the way to get. It wastes a couple seconds, but it's more of a safety strat. And we will probably see Laurie go for it now. Oh, nope, not going for it again. Alright, she got it this time though. But yeah, she had to spawn all the way at the top again, losing quite a bit of time there from that. And we just have Fladervy here going throughout, actually finishing up the 1,000 meter section.
Yeah, doing it before, just a really good pace going at 1,500 meters. This is probably agreed upon to be probably the hardest part of this run, is this 1,500 meters section.
Yes, there's a lot of cycles you have to make in this one.
Yeah, and get your hey yas in chat for this jam by Lena Rain from the soundtrack.
Yeah, shout outs to her for making such great music for this entire game.
Yeah. Not a bad track in the soundtrack.
I still just need Kevin to just make covers of all of them.
Covers. Now that I would want to hear that.
I would love that. All right, so we didn't even mention the ultra room that we like to call. that Fladervy did. Basically, he decided to he messed it up. He messed it up once and decided just to re-enter the room so that the cycles would be the exact same, which is probably safer than just not going for it.
Absolutely.
But that room is insane when you see it done quickly. So, and also he decided to take a path that would normally take you to a strawberry. He's also going to do it here, just because it's faster routing than the original intended path for a casual player.
Plus, when you get strawberries, everything's great. So that's 2 strawberries. So twice as good as
100% run.
Yeah, but getting
Now,
1 or 2 strawberries isn't abnormal. If you start to get to the 11 11 range, it usually means that maybe you forgot that you're not running all red berries. But
oh, getting really messed up in this snowball room, trying to go for the extra berry because we were talking about it, and
there we
go. A
go.
little bit of issue. There we go.
Berry number 3.
Berry number 3. Will this be the run so far with the most berries? Nice auto scroll skip right here.
It will. So Babai in his first run got 11 berries. So I think
well,
I think
he'll beat that.
No, I think that's gonna be the most for anybody, or at least, to be honest, I hope it is, because no one needs to get 11 berries.
I mean, to be honest, TGH could probably do all red berries and still win.
Yeah, if it was going against me, I'm sure. Absolutely.
If it was going against me too. All right, so Laurie, now into the second phase of Battle Line, and so far had a pretty good Battle Line fight up until now. And meanwhile, we have Fladervy just finishing off the 2,000 meter. Going to be moving into the final part before the final climb, which is 2,500. So yeah, so far this chapter 7 for him has been pretty good. Just a few mess ups in the snowball room, but still with that, still very impressive so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is usually the part of the run where we look, do they have a chance at PBing? And I don't think so. If everything was done perfectly, then maybe. But I think right now it looks like it's going to be a pretty good run if they can get it consistent. But very good run. But I don't think we're going to see a PB today from them.
Coming up here, we got the key skip. Taking a little bit of a few tries here. There you go. Third try right there.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. And Laurie just now finishing up chapter 6. Going to be joining Fladervy. A few sections behind, but still can make up some time on him. Depending on how he does in the final climb.
Yeah, I mean, right now, compared to her PB, getting through this at roughly 30 minutes, that's going to be a really good time. So it looks like going for door skip here, and is going to get it.
There we go.
Gotta love door skip.
The strat that is way too hyped by everyone.
But too hyped, I heard it saved, like 5 minutes or something like that. Are you telling me that it doesn't save 5 minutes?
Yeah, it actually saves 9 years. I'm sorry to tell you that, but
oh wow.
Yeah. So if you get that guaranteed world record. No, in all seriousness, it actually saves 1 second. So it's just a swag strat.
Yeah, it helps if you're like a top level. That was interesting on Laurie's screen.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened there.
It looks like she didn't get it and then tried to save it there by going through the middle, but just trying to do anything possible there. But was confused for a second, but makes sense. Decides to take the death there and get through the room. And so now we're at the flag section. So counting down from 30 here, already to, what is that, 23? Already 22. I just blinked and, got another flag.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make quick work of 3,000. Definitely. With a lot of people really don't dislike this section where the wind is going downwards, but with the hypers and the reverses and ultras, we can make really quick work of it.
Yep, gonna skip that flag there, that's normally done just since the other section is
right next to them.
Yeah, it's really short. It's almost, what's the point of going for that?
Deciding to skip that wall there, that was a little bit of a risky move. Oh, and missing that trampoline.
Not a big death. That cost, 2 seconds, so yeah, not a huge one there.
Meanwhile, Laurie is still moving 500. So far, only had that one mess up where she didn't get her dash back in at the very start of Summit. And we're going to see Flader here doing a nice jump there. That was a neutral jump past those spikes, and that was really well done there. And now onto the final 10 for him.
Yeah, this is actually a very good pace. Hasn't had the one tiny mistake there, but other than that, it's getting through this very efficiently. Already at 7.
Messing up on that dash. Used one dash too many there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to reset there. But yeah, would have to get to these next 5 flags in roughly 35 seconds. So the PB is not dead, but everything would have to go perfectly in order to get that.
Yep, deciding to skip that checkpoint there. Thankfully, it's a little bit of a risky skip, because if you skip that one and you die, you go back down to the upwards wind section. Oh, and unfortunate death there. Just got a little bit too much speed. Went right into the blue spikes. And now we see Laurie passing 1,000 meter, going to be heading into 1,500, while Flader is now just about to be done, getting up to his final checkpoint here, number 1, and it looks like this is barely going to miss PB, which is very sad to see.
Still a fantastic run. Getting a sub 33 in a race setting is fantastic. It was a really great run. Just a couple, a few small mistakes away from a PB, so fantastic run put on by Flad. As Laurie here is on what I think is the hardest room in the any.
And there we go with his time. He has a 32.50. He is done. Congratulations to his win.
Yeah, that's gonna be 4-0 from him.
That is crazy. And now we're moving on. Laurie is still in 1,500, having to do with these cycles. Like we said earlier, here's the Ultra Room. Seeming to go for it. That was a different strat than I've seen before.
It looks like she just misinputted there.
Nice save there.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty safe to say that pretty much anybody who's ever speedran or even played this game has had a point in which they had a misinput. So.
Yeah. Specifically on the dash.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so just now getting past the 1,500 meter, or about to, sorry, and going to be moving on to the 2,000. Also, just showing off the different language text here with Fladervy.
Yep, gotta love. If I'm well cultured, I believe that's Portuguese.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. And sometimes I just like changing the language to see what it's like for the run.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like you don't really, once you know the run, there's nothing that is language intensive, so.
Yeah, because who needs story in their video games?
Yep.
Even though this game has a very great story.
It does. That's one thing that I appreciated most about the game. The gameplay is great, and then it has a surprisingly fantastic story for, just a precision platformer. I don't think I've ever seen a platformer with a story like that before.
Yeah. Also, nice save there by Laurie. Tried to go the strawberry route, wanted to get that swag strawberry, but then almost died because of it. So, going for the skip though, almost didn't make it. That was a little scary. All right, there you go. And now moving on to this part. This part's just boring in general. Like,
yeah, a lot of call them auto scrollers. They're not actually auto scrollers, but
they feel like them.
Yeah, you're waiting on the pace of those blocks for the most part. So there's some skips for them, but at the same time, compared to how fast and how much speed you build up in other sections of the game, it's definitely a lot slower. And I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Laurie on a fantastic pace. If for PB,
I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm gonna say it anyways. That's a good quote right there.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Her PB, at least on speedrun.com, is 42:44. Right now, she's going in a 3,000 meter section the 2,500 meter section at 36 minutes. I think that she's got a great shot at PBing on this.
Yeah, very well. A good pace right now.
Absolutely, and let's see which skips she goes for on this one, because this section is known for having some really great skips to go for. Going to go for this key skip right here. Gets it second try.
Very nicely done there. I'm pretty sure Fladervy had a third try, so Made up a little bit of time on that. All right, we are coming up to door skip fairly soon. We'll see if she goes for it.
Let's see. I'm sure she'll go for it once. Especially
I think this is a very underrated room right here. This one right here, just because you get to squeeze through that gap. This has to take the safety route for it though. Not going for door skip. Fair enough, because especially in a tournament setting, it can be a little dangerous to go for it because again, it only saves 1 second.
Yeah, and one thing to note as well is that even though the race is decided, the time that Laurie gets is still important. For the top 4 runners in each group that moves on to the bracket section, your average time for each of these races is going to determine your seeding. So important for her to get a good time on these.
Yes, and just now finished up with 2,500, going into the 3,000 meter.
Has 5 minutes to PB.
Will we see another PB in this tournament, because it hasn't happened enough?
Yeah, it seems to have happened basically. I'd say 75% of the races, if not more, have had at least one PB.
Which is good. It's always good to see people improve.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been absolutely insane, really fun to watch. Love to see a PB. It's the best part of watching speedrunners is seeing them get that best time. But
yeah, for sure. And yeah, so just climbing up the downward wind section, that was very friendly there with that spike. Taking it a little bit safe there. You could skip that flag, but as you see, if that happened and she died there, wouldn't have been very, very nice. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're at the end of a tournament race run. Alright, and now just getting close to the end of the downward wind portion.
Yep, was that flag 20? Yep, only 20 to go. Just getting through this with relative ease.
Yep, just one small death. Only lost maybe 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's not... In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing.
Yep, and now moving on to 19. It's time to skip 18. And there we go.
Again, that flag, if you decide to skip it, even if you're not missing much, even if you die there, it's kind of out of the way to even go for that flag.
Yeah, fair enough. And it's the same thing with flag number 8 as well.
Yeah.
Later on.
It just seems more like it's going to take more time to even go for that flag than it is worth it to save time if you do potentially die.
Yep. This right here could possibly be like the flag that a lot of people have choked on.
Absolutely. It's just this final jump on it. It's just so easy to mess up. Hopefully she gets it first try. Does line that up. Looks easy when you get it, but when you mess it up, it's just such a tight gap there that...
Yep. Going, decides not to do the wall jump, but dies anyways. Had a very bad dash input there. Again, probably not her fault.
Nah, it looks like she was trying to go for a diagonal dash and just had a horizontal instead.
Yeah, and again, sadly, that can happen with this game, especially if you're using analog stick.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few runners that use analog stick, but it seems like, for the most part, runners like either use a D-pad, or it's rarer, but a keyboard.
Yep, and coming up to the final section here, with 6 left to go.
Yeah, I would say, barring just a bit of a choke, I think that this is a PB.
Oh, well, we can't say anything yet. There's been chokes already in this tournament.
Absolutely, so we'll see how it goes, but this is a fantastic pace that she's on.
Yeah, great runs by both of the runners for this one. And moving on to number 3. Oh, almost fell. Also got very friendly with that spike.
All right, 2 to go.
Cutting it a little close on 3 there. That was a little worrying. Also, almost running out of stamina. Wow. Nice save
The final flag. There we go. What a run.
Wow. Sub 42.
That's going to be a PB by about 1.5 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. Congratulations to Laurie. Congratulations to Fladervy on the win and both of your great runs. That was great.
A PB by a minute and 28 seconds. Or actually, it's not. It was a 41:17, so I'm not going to math again. But fantastic run there.
All right, let's see if we can get both of them in here.
Yeah, let's see if either of the runners want to do an interview.
Or if we have time to.
Do a fantastic race. Vlad, he's going to be 4-0 going into this. Basically, at this point, a lock to go on to the bracket section. Not unexpected. He's one of the top runners of this game. And then Laurie, a tough loss to start out, but at the same time, pretty much what was expected. And we got Laurie here for an interview. Laurie, PB.
Why?
How'd you feel about that run?
Hold up, give me a second.
No problem. Take your time.
All right, so first off, I'm going to say something that's going to make probably a lot of people mad after getting a minute and a half PB. That was probably one of the worst runs of this game I've ever done.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people say that when they get PBs, to be fair.
That seems to be a pretty normal thing, is that, the run's never good enough. But still, you got to be... Well, what exactly was frustrating for you about that run?
Okay, so I had the worst early game I've probably ever had since I've come back to this game at the beginning of June. I was plus 35 going into Ridge, where I came out 12 seconds ahead after a 10-second IL PB. Then I went all the way back to 20 seconds behind after Mirror Temple. Saved almost a minute because my old PB's reflection was awful. So I was 30 seconds ahead, and I had to compete with a Summit that was an ILPB in my any percent PB, and I just ILPB'd Summit by almost a minute.
That's insane.
It's funny because that's
really good.
Yeah, that was a very good Summit. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that literally sounds like the exact same way my race went, and I PB'd my race too. So
the great news is you got that for going on more PB attempts. You have that easier early game.
Oh yeah, no, I just have to. I know in practice. I've been saying this to a lot of people I've been practicing with. I have been getting to the point in Summit where I'm getting the parts consistently enough, but I've still not had a Summit where I've just gotten a lot of the good stuff in one run. And I feel like except for 1500, that was really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was very impressive at the end. So congratulations to both of you on your great runs. Congratulations, Fladervy, on the win. And again, congratulations, Laurie, on your PB. Your sub 42.
So, Laurie, when's your next race going to be?
My next race is on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Sounds good. Sounds right.
Nice. And the next race of Celeste is actually happening right here, right after we leave, and it's going to be Dave Stereo versus 4i Steven. So we'll switch it off to them, guys. Thank you all for watching this race, and follow the runners as well as follow us, the commentators. And we'll just switch it over right now so they can get started on time.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the runners for putting on a great race.
All right. Bye, guys.